Yeah, what's up, y'all? We back. Coach Anderson will be back in just a moment. I know my time, I'm supposed to get better with my time, but it really didn't show it to me again, y'all. It was rolling. It was good. It was going good. So I'm gonna bring it back in. I got a couple more questions for her, and then we'll wrap up in just a moment. Yep. So yeah, y'all come on back in. Like I said, Coach will be back in just a minute. Didn't even know they was going through that. What's up, y'all? What's up, Gilchrist? What's up, Coach? What's up, Donnie? Oh man, let me find my stuff. Here we go. Here we go. Coach is back. Hey, Coach. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't even know. Like, Instagram normally give you like a countdown, like you got like 2 minutes left, but it didn't do it that time. And I always say I'm gonna start writing down what time I come on, so I could kind of know before it cuts us off and stuff like that. But like I always tell people, like I said, I had Coach Odom on, and you're my second lady guest, and it just seemed like stuff just goes smooth. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all just seem like y'all just make stuff go so smooth and kind of make it easy for me. Like all my guests have been good. Like just been easy because, like I said, I've been wanting to do this for a little while. Like maybe do a podcast. And so COVID came, and then it just gave me more time or whatever to do it. So I'm always nervous every time I get ready to come on because it's live right now. You know what I mean? So, but no, you guys make it easy. All my guests I had. Coach Jones from Norfolk State was on, and JD from VCU, Coach CJ last night. Like everybody that I've had on has always made it like real, real smooth and real easy. Because I was like, I guess this is part of your job. Y'all deal with stuff like this, and probably a little bit more pressure media too, because they're asking you about games, why you didn't win, and what happened. And you're supposed to give them that answer right then and there too, which is
No,
weird.
if somebody asks you something, you can't have any emotion. You're supposed to just be like,
That's
but
really crazy. So do you? I mean, I don't know. Do they take you through that, or you just learn it? Like, do you go through media or like any type of I know back. I'm sure they didn't back a
Mhm.
little, but nowadays it seems like it's always a camera thrown in your face, or somebody like myself may request for you to do an Instagram live story. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or they may catch you, anywhere. Like you may go back to Virginia Tech when you're home, and somebody may want to, grab you for a Hokies interview for the website since you played and
Mhm.
coached there. Do I know kids go through it, but do coaches go through like media stuff too, or you just gotta know what to do, be a professional?
Normally your SID that helps you with like kind of reporter's angle, like angle
Mm,
get out of you. But I think it's just something you kind of just learn as time.
mm,
And then I've always worked for head coaches that have given advice on how to get a point across without
mm.
like brash.
Right.
So I've always had head coaches that have like helped with that stuff. But
Yeah,
I
I
think,
was on a. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, but I think you just like look at stuff. Like sometimes
Mm,
I'm like, oh, no,
mm,
learn from that. So,
mm. Because I was on a Zoom call with some of like the sports like writers and stuff like that. A guy sent me the link. One of my guys, Dane Irvin, and so they were purposely like putting us in like groups, giving us scenarios, and
mhm.
then it's like boom, you were on a 10 game winning streak and you lost. You were in a one bid conference where you just won 10 straight games, but you lost the conference title, and now you can't go to the NCAA. And the reporter is giving it to you, asking you all these hard questions. Like, how do you react to it? I'm like, wow. I probably would want to sit there either like take it probably get upset or either like want to cry. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I know that's part of it. That's like real crazy. I know doing like Peach Jam and EYBL sessions, like a lot of media outlets are there, so they're pulling and tugging the kids. Like as soon as we come off the floor, whether it's a big game we won or something that just happened, or if it's a big recruit that we had on our team or whatever, they pull them immediately after the game, and I'm like, man, we got to go win them. I even started doing it in high school, like when the newspaper folks come get your guys right afterwards, to make sure that a coach goes win them, and make sure they're not getting backed into a wall too much. But I know it has to be crazy now. It's just so much. Like everybody, if you got a cell phone, you could be a media person almost nowadays. Like it's just weird. You know what I mean? So we were talking a little bit before it cut off about obstacles and being in a business, being a young black woman, uh, you know, well versed in your field. Like I said, you have all the experience. You did it on all levels. You coach young men, you coach young ladies in high school, and you coached in college. So has it people are looking from the outside, like they may see you like boom, you were such a star player. They may think things were afforded to you because of your play and things of that nature. So just talk about your grind a little bit. I mean, because I think your grind as a player probably helped afford the things that happened to you later on in life.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and my mom used to ask me all this. She used to always be like, basketball is a vehicle to get you somewhere. Like, where do you want?
Hmm.
And I used to be like, what? Like, it was just going over my head.
Hmm.
And me wanting to give back, I think if I were a coach out of college, like graduated and became a college coach, I'd have been fired. Like, done.
Hmm.
Done. So I needed to grow up. I needed to learn how the real world worked.
Hmm.
But I also needed to learn how to kind of be on my own. I think when you are a college athlete, there's a lot of things that you're not the normal college student. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of areas I had to grow in. So I'm glad I worked in corporate America, because there's some skills from corporate America that I have taken with me into being a college basketball coach.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So a lot of those things, like sitting in meetings, like just different things. There's a time and a place for everything. You have to be able to fit in different places.
Hmm.
Um, and that is the biggest thing when it comes to like being a college coach. Can you relate to these student athletes? Can you talk to administration? Can you talk to your boss about whatever's going on? If a recruit comes around or a parent asks you a question, so you have to be able to, I don't want to say fit in, fit in is a bad word, but be able to maneuver through different situations.
Right. Okay.
I think there are some obstacles being a Black woman,
Hmm.
just in general. But I think when it comes to like what has helped me a lot is having played at Virginia Tech, having coached AAU, going to Radford, going to Virginia Tech, and then being here. My path has kind of prepared me along the way. I
Hmm.
think the thing is being seen as more than a lot of people say, like more than like a recruiter. When you are dealing with
Hmm.
when you're dealing with these student athletes, you're helping them. Yeah, you're helping them with basketball. You're helping them through life. Like you're helping them with their life. You're helping them get to where they want to go, and sometimes they don't know where they want to go. So you got to be able to help them figure out where they want to go. Because
Hmm.
it stops bouncing, and everybody knows the ball stops bouncing. Although everybody's like, my ball is never going to stop bouncing. Like I'm
Yeah,
always
it
going to.
is.
Really is, like it is, it's just how it happens. But you have to be able to help kids in different situations, but also be able to talk to different people in different situations.
Hmm.
But I think a lot to kind of how I grew up, growing up military at the time. I was like, we always have to move, and all my friends always move, but it's helped me and prepared me for this. So it's just, I think it's all in how you take it. What can you learn from a
Hmm.
situation? The biggest lesson I probably learned being a college coach is you can't take it personal. Don't take it
Hmm.
personal. Regardless of what happens, how good, you can't take it personal. Because I used to be like, well, dang, well, how does that make me look? Or what about then it's not?
Hmm.
It's
I'm
hard.
working on that as an AAU coach.
It's
I'm working
hard.
on that as an AAU coach, not to take it personal. One of
Yeah.
my guys, he's in here now, and coaching. I'm just like, man, I give it all. You know what I'm saying? Give it all to him and do a lot of stuff. And I'm like, man, it's just like sometimes it's not reciprocated, or you know, and things of that nature. And I got to know like what I'm doing, the things that I'm doing. It's not always going to be that way, and it's not going to come back. But that's something that I'm learning too, like trying not to, you know, just trying to deal with that because it is crazy nowadays. It is definitely like
it
not being appreciated, or sometimes like that kind of gets to me a little bit. I don't like that part at all about it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't like that part. That part kind of that part gets me every time. Like, but it really does. So, like I said, I always do these when I do this. Like I said, I did some research on you, and like I said, a lot of people that I really respect in the game that's from the area and really know you. Like Ted Miller told me to tell you hi. He said tell Brittany Uncle Teddy said hi, and I was like I will. You know what I mean? And then so I always do this like people when they find out that I'm having college coaches on or whatever, they always want me to ask like what are they recruiting and this and that. And I'm like, this is more like of a celebration of the person in basketball, like, what people like, there's something that brought us all together, whether it's, through different folks that, like I said, like Antoine hit me up about you and told me a lot about you, that he met you at Virginia Tech and things of that nature. So, so I always want to do that, what I'm saying, just celebrate, folks in basketball, people that look like me and you,
Mhm.
doing it real big in basketball. And it's like it's pretty amazing when I saw that you were going to Stanford, and I was just like, I don't know why, because Virginia Tech is in the ACC and it's a big school too, you know what I mean? So but it just seemed like Stanford, I guess it's the prestige and because of the educational background of it, and stuff like that. It just seems like it's just like such. I mean, I think it's a big deal, but it just was like a huge deal for me when once I spoke with you, and you were
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, coach, I do it, this, and that. And I was just like, oh man, this is, what I mean? Like, I just, was really excited about it. So I just want to thank you again for that. But people always ask, so when you guys are recruiting young ladies to be a part of, the Cardinals, I know you just got there, but it's probably some of the same things you looked at when you were at Virginia Tech. Is it a particular, like something that you're looking at into a young lady? Do you look to see if they have any of the qualities that you had, or if you see a young lady that you think
Mhm.
has some of your qualities, how does that make you feel when you like on the recruiting trail?
I think the biggest change for me here will be it's more academic. So they look more
Mm,
at the academic side of things as far as like a player. Um, Here, the level of player that is recruited is different than a lot of different schools.
mm-hmm,
Say that to slight anybody. I think the player is different. Um,
mm-hmm,
and but I always say like, are you coachable? Um,
mm-hmm,
your attitude, your attitude it's one of those things where it's like your attitude determines a lot. Like how can you be coached? Are you going to be open to being coached? And then you're also looking at like IQ, basketball IQ, which is easy, but it's also kind of hard to be able to tell like those things,
mm-hmm.
especially if you have to see them play over a period of time. So that's a hard thing. That's one hard thing to tell, but it's something that you have to look at. But also how I look at, honestly, how do they respect their parents? Like when the game is over and who you want to talk to, like how are you talking to your coach? How are you talking to your parents? How are you with your teammates? Are you helping your teammates out like during a play? If something happens on the court, like how are you barking at your teammates? Like, are you helping
Mm-hmm.
them, hurting them by making matters worse? But it's a fit thing from a being coached, so to speak. But it's not. I think different schools look for different things as far as like
Right.
how the system. Here, they look for their guards. The post players here are huge. I don't say like they're huge. They're tall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it depends on the system, but I just think that like the coachability of players and their attitude. Another thing that I look at, a lot of coaches won't say, but I'll say is social media. Like, what are you posting on social media? How are you presenting
Mm-hmm.
yourself? Because at the end of the day, you're representing the school, but you're also representing your family. Like,
Right.
how being posted, how are you being perceived on social media? Because a lot of times I think they think that they have this Finsta, they have their Instagram, they have
Mm-hmm.
Vince doesn't have this thing. They post things, and you could just put two and two together. Like, you're representing a school that has given you a scholarship to go there, get your education, and play.
Right.
You don't have to pay any bills back when you're done. So it's just
Right.
like, it's an investment, but it's also one of those things like how you representing your family, how you represent the school. So there's a lot that it goes into it, but social media has made it a lot harder when it comes to,
Right.
because as you know, like, social media is a piece where it can hurt you or it can help you.
Hmm.
It hurts more people than it helps, just because they're posting stuff that's just not okay.
Yeah, I don't know. They don't realize until somebody tells them. Once it's up there forever. Even if you delete it, someone has already taken a picture of it or screenshot it with your phone or screen
Yeah.
recorded something. It's always something really crazy. You know what I mean? That it's always going to show up. So I was going to also ask you, like, as a coach so far, what's one of your biggest accomplishments so far?
That's a tough one. Um, I would say Taylor Emery getting into vet school.
Mm,
Um, she deferred her enrollment because she's still playing. Her doing that has made, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you're kind of like, are they getting it? And it helps you see, and it makes you see, okay, they're getting it where they want to be. I think a big thing was watching Elizabeth Kitley grow this past year. She was
mm-hmm,
a year. I was like, wow. But seeing how far she's grown. Um,
mm-hmm,
but probably the biggest one was that first class that we recruited while I was at Radford. Jada Worthy is now an assistant coach back at Radford this year, where she played it
mm,
from. So that one, for me, like, I don't think she knows, like, it just was like bittersweet. Like,
right.
you're doing what a lot of people don't get to do, and I don't think it's really hit her yet.
Mm-hmm,
Um, there's been several along the way. I always say there's little things that happen while you're going through life to let you know you're going down the right path. So it's always a reminder to be like, okay, let's keep going. Like, okay. So it's
mm-hmm.
a lot of little things. I think, but the biggest thing was Taylor Emery getting into vet school was like, she got into vet school. And to
Oh,
see the
wow.
face, like, after she was done and
Mm-hmm.
graduated, she could get into vet school was very fulfilling.
Right. So earlier you touched on a little bit about how when you first graduated, you didn't go right into coaching and you went into corporate America. So do you think that that's like another like added layer that helps you like develop your student athletes? Like, because you could tell them that part of it, like, hey, I went, when I graduated college, you know what I mean? Like, from what you said your job title was, it seems like you did pretty well in college. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you did pretty well in the book. So does that help you? Like, when you're recruiting or talking to parents that, I went to corporate America and I was able to, I graduate, I played at a high level, and then I was able to do my thing in the classroom, and I got a job in corporate America and did well there too. You know what I mean? And so you can kind of, that's like another layer that you have, not just basketball that you can bring to the table.
I would agree with you. At first, I didn't. For the parents, I think it helps them see that I'm a coach who's a coach, but I worked in corporate America. So there is some connection there, and I kind of understand where they're trying
Hmm.
to not get to, but I understand what it's like to try to, like, figure out what you're trying to do, and you just feel like you're spinning your wheels and you eventually get somewhere. But I made some connections in corporate America that I still use to this day. People
Hmm.
contact with. So I think that's a big thing. But the question I get from a lot of parents was, what made you leave corporate America, basically start your career all the way over to
Hmm.
become a coach? And I just, like, it's just something it's something I couldn't keep ignoring and be like, oh no, it'll be okay. I'll just keep doing this.
Hmm.
A really, really, really big thing for me was, like, if something keeps presenting itself, you can't keep ignoring it. You kind of got to just eventually got to be like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. But it does help because um, a lot of recruits have questions like, well, what if I don't really know what I want to do and I'm trying to figure it out? It helps them see that you don't have to always know exactly what you want to do when you graduate. My parents said something like, you don't have to know what you want to do, but you got to do something to figure out what you don't want to do,
Right.
or how you're trying to get somewhere. You can't just stay stagnant. So
Hmm.
that me, it's big because I was able to kind of figure it out and be able to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm fulfilling my purpose. So that being in both worlds, it has helped me out a lot. But I think it's helped with our kids, with our players more than anything. But it's also, it forced me to grow up because I worked for an electrical engineering firm. You're in meetings with project managers who are talking about gazillions of dollars for government projects. And you kind of figure out kind of like how their brain has to work to get to the point where they're like, okay, this is the project and this is what I need. And you kind of see where what you're doing plugs into their project. And it helps you see that like with the team, in a team setting, everybody brings something to the table. So I think that's why I enjoyed my job so much, but it just got to the point where I was like, I got to do something else.
Wow. Okay, that's really good. Somebody must know you, Coach McKee asked who was the best AAU coach in the country. I said, yeah, he got it. He must know. I said, he must
Right.
know it.
Right. He does know.
Well, I said, yeah, he got to know it. But now, when you told me that though about the job, right, like right after college, and you started working, I said that then you said you had to take that huge pay cut to start coaching again. So I was like, it must have been inside of you that you did want to coach, or it came out of you, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that you wanted to coach in order, to do that, to jump back in that mix like that. And then I guess having the blessing from everybody, like your parents and everybody telling you to go ahead and do what you want to do. So that's definitely a good thing. But I was wondering, like, because with the WNBA as an option, and for young ladies to go over, young women to go overseas to play basketball, that's been an option for a long time. So I know, just like in the men's game, on the men's side, it's more professionals in working jobs than it is playing professional basketball. So I was always wondering, since you told me that, that you did, work at corporate America, how did that help you out with, coaching and, speaking to kids and speaking to young ladies about it? Because majority of the young women that you coach and even the majority of the young men that play college basketball are going to probably be professionals in something else besides, basketball. Like, you know what I mean? So that's just another good thing I think to have in your in your toolbox, though. I really think that's really good there too. You know what I mean? So just a couple more things. Like I said, I ain't gonna keep you all night, but I did hear you when we were texting a moment ago. So the fires it's wow. So you have coronavirus, you have the brush fires going on. California is going through it right now.
Yeah, so it was my first experience with it was 2 weeks ago, and I was like what's going on? And just like right now, like everything's normal. Like people are going about their day and whatever else. It's just it's gloomy. It's gloomy. It's smoky. It shifts, and then you feel like okay, daylight, the sun's coming out, but it's just gloomy right now. But they just say stay inside.
Oh yeah, because it is 6 o'clock there too. But
Yeah,
wow.
and they said it's bad either. They said it hasn't been this bad. My godmother actually lives in Oakland, and I went to go see her this weekend, and she was like, "It's never." She's like, She's lived in Oakland for 30 some years. She's like, "It's never been. She's never
Oh,
seen it
really?
like." Yeah, yeah. So we'll
Wow.
see.
So the
2020
young
is here.
2020 has been a tough year. Wow. So are the young ladies already used to it? You got a lot of your players are West Coast players that you guys have?
We have a couple West Coast, more from like the Midwest, couple from Colorado, Texas, and then a couple from Atlanta.
Mm.
Um, they've all, even when I haven't met them in person, we FaceTime and we've been on Zoom.
Wow, Zoom calls.
Yeah, but they haven't been here just
Mm.
because of the regulations in the county with coronavirus. So they're like, "What does it look like?" They've never seen it. I'm like, I'm experiencing it, and like, they haven't experienced it before. So
Wow.
we'll see. But they're from
That's,
all over.
they're from all over. Okay, I know there was a young lady, Anna Wilson, that played at our program. She's still there, right?
Last year, yes.
This is last year, yeah. I remember her when she was coming through as when she was young and playing, and she played with the Richmond program first, and then came and played down here with us. So she was always really good too when she was younger too. So yeah, I figured that she probably still was doing good things. I think she moved out west with her brother.
Yeah, I moved with her brother. They live out on the West Coast now, and she saw her on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
She, but they live on the West Coast now. But I talked to her mom. Her mom is from Virginia, so we like reminisced on like a lot of different. because she, and I was like, not too many people would know what you're talking about, but I do.
Yeah, that's really good though, because yeah, because I've been to California a few times. So every time if you see someone out there that's from the East Coast, or when you just in California and then people find out you're from the East Coast, they just want to act like you're in like you're from a whole nother country. I'm like, nah, it's not really different. You know what I mean? Like we were kind of all still the same, but it's just I guess it's just a whole nother world. Because it was kind of like that when I was in California a couple of times though. I like the West Coast though. I
But
like
you
the
feel like one thing I would say, you don't feel like you're in the United States. Like I don't. I feel like I'm like away from everybody, which I am, but I think it's a time difference because I'm 3 hours behind, and so that's probably like one of them. But I haven't got my tags changed yet. I still have Virginia tags, so when people see it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like what's it like in Virginia?" I'm like, I guess it's
And
the
they probably
same.
want to ask you, did you drive all the way over here? Like, no. Like,
Right.
no.
I did. I
You
drove.
did?
I had my car shipped, but yeah, I rented a car and me and my mom drove. Yeah.
Oh, wow. What kind of drive was that? How many times did you stop?
So we did over 5 days. It
Mm,
was 38 hours total. To be honest with you, it was pretty.
mm,
I don't know if I'd do it again.
right.
Um, you could see because of everything we're going through with like coronavirus and stuff, you can see how the different states, like everybody's just going on their own rules. Like there were
Mm,
certain stop at, I'd like put on a mask, go into the store or whatever, and people like it was like nothing was going on. And then you go to some states when people had on gloves and masks, and so it was interesting to see like from state to state how things were. But it was a pretty drive. It was a pretty drive
mm.
over 5 days.
And you were driving from Virginia, right, to there. So are you going up north, or did you do like a southern?
And then
Mm,
over.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've driven from California to Phoenix, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I think they said it's the same highway, like the 110,
Mm-hmm. The
and it's
whole.
like yeah, it's like a long straight. Like I think once we got, I was in Phoenix first. It went from Phoenix to Los Angeles, and I think once we got on the highway, we made one turn to get on the highway. Then after that, it was just a straight shot, no turns, crazy signs. Like every car is subject to be searched, and it was just everybody's flying up and down the road. I was like, it seemed like this is how they play basketball in California too. It seemed like everything is fast paced, tempo. You know what I mean? Yeah, I had a guy. His name is Chris Young. He's like a Nike scout and rep in California, and that was one of the things that I told him too. As a being young and playing basketball, I remember playing teams from like Seattle, Washington, and California. It just seemed like they played tempo, like nonstop. Is the game different for you? I know you haven't been out there and did a lot yet, but do you think is the game different out there with the kids, with the student athletes, or is it you think it's going to be the same?
I'm interested to see
Mm,
because I haven't like the only time I saw teams from the West Coast play was like when they came to like Boo or wherever
mm,
Chicago like WBL stuff. So I've only seen it like in that setting, and I always felt like they were like you had some teams that were they just up and down, and then you had some teams that were up and down, but some that ran some plays and different things here and there. So I'm
mm.
interested. I'm interested to see high school basketball here
High
too.
school, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'd be interested. But people say, just like you said, people say it's different. They play different. I've seen like some stuff on like the live streams and stuff. Like I've seen Vegas play, and I've seen a couple teams from Arizona play. And the live streams that I've seen, that's what I've seen. Yeah.
Wow. So I always ask coaches that I do have up here, like about the live stream. How's that like recruiting from a live stream? I know that is pretty tricky.
The I'm not gonna say I gave up. I'm not gonna say I gave up. My patience has gone down because either one of two things. The person that's supposed to be operating the camera is not paying attention and going
Yeah.
with ball, or some of them have put like it's like um operated by like a robot to go
Mm,
back and forth. And sometimes there's too many courts side by side, and it doesn't know which ball to follow or which. So
mm,
there's some where I've been like, okay, this is good. There's somebody there that's paying attention, and then I've seen
Mm-hmm.
some where it's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like you're not paying attention, you're not following the ball, and you don't know what court you're supposed to be watching right now. So
Wow.
I've gone back and forth. I do miss, and I probably never thought I'd say this. I miss sitting in the gym in July to see
Right.
games, able to see over here, see over there, see over here. I feel like when you're home in this live stream, it's easy to get up and just go do something else, and you come back like you're
Mm-hmm.
distracted too much. When you're actually in the gym, I did miss that in July. It just kind of was just like, we're not going recruiting in July. So
Mm-hmm.
I miss that. But the live streams have been okay. Some have been, you can tell who's into it, but some,
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean because I mean I'm a junkie too, so I sit at home sometimes and I watch the live streams and I'm like, man, what are they doing? And then I even on some of the companies I even like on paid streams that I pay for, like I go on the social media page and send them a direct message like, man, like you need to maybe I can, find out who's, because I know with some of the streams they use, like if they're using a person, sometimes it's younger people, so they may not be
mhm.
paying attention or they're talking over the stream and stuff like that. So I tell the guys, like, kids that are all playing, that are on, playing on the live stream and things like that. I was like, well, it's different because the coach isn't in the gym. So, like you said, they can
Yeah,
get up and move around and then, go to another court. So if you are watching that game, you're going to watch that game so they can, if you're watching it on your TV, it's like magnified. They see you not running back on defense. So see you doing this and doing that. So it's not,
yeah. No,
it's not
it's you.
bouncing around.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because, if you're in the gym, you may go to, if you're at Boo, you may go to court one and you may see a girl that you're recruiting there, but they may be winning by 40. So you're like, I no need to watch no more of this. And then you get up and go to court six and go watch another team. So if it's on your television or on your laptop, you're just watching that one game. And then
yeah,
it's like, boom, oh, you're doing, so it's like a double-edged sword with it, you know what I mean, with just the live streams.
yeah,
I ask everybody about it, like, how do you like it? I get the same answer too. I get the
yeah.
same answer, like they like it, not like it. It's okay. Depends on which company. And like I said, I don't want to talk bad about the companies, but when I'm watching them though, if it's crazy, I do go on like social media and send them a message like, "Can
I
you
might have
fix
to.
this?" Or
I
they'll
might
do
have to
it.
do.
Or I mean, I know if a college coach is hitting them about it, you know what I mean? I know they would probably fix it, probably even quicker than, with me, hitting them up and complaining about it or whatever. But I do. I go right to their Twitter page or right to their Instagram page and DM them. We're like, game such and such that I was watching, man, it has the wrong title up there and it was X, Y, and Z. And then they'll respond like and tell me, they'll try to fix it or they'll send me like a YouTube link to the game itself or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah,
I
so
might.
we kind of been doing that too. Yeah, it
Yeah,
works. I'm telling you, especially when, like I said, if you're paying, because everybody's is paying now to watch these live streams and stuff like that, so it can at least be, pretty good and clear. You know what I mean? If that's what we've come to now. You know what I mean?
yeah.
With trying to watch the games up there. You know what I mean? So I know that was big difference. And so you're really judging, you're really trusting your eye now with live streams because it's just right there. It's not really no in person. So I know that's kind of weird
Very
doing
weird.
that. Yeah, so and
When you
I
have
watched
a good.
some girls play this weekend, and I was looking at it, and I was like, it was, but I can only imagine how it looks on the video though.
Yeah. And then it was the other part that's kind of weird is you talk to a recruiter and you're like, hey, I saw you play this weekend on live stream. That to me, that's
Hmm.
just it's weird. It's like I never thought I'd be like, hey, but then again, this year has thrown us a loop, so it's just kind of
But then, because I know that's, parents are probably in a frenzy about that too, because you guys aren't able to come out and meet them face to face and things of that nature. Even though doing live periods, you guys don't talk to parents, but it's still seeing you guys in the gym and knowing that you guys are like actively recruiting their student athletes. So I know that kind of like takes a little bit of the weight off their shoulder knowing that you guys are involved. Right now, they just got to go off of what you're telling them. So you know what I mean. But it's for both of you guys though, the
yeah.
kids and you know what I mean. Both it's a strange place for everybody right now. You know what I mean. So I got a couple more things for you, but we just touched on that a little bit. Like I said, Coach Bailey, she helps me out a lot. I always show everybody. She gives me a whole list.
Oh,
So like sometimes I hop around and then I
uh-huh.
just trying to make sure that I'm not going too crazy. So So I'll peek over there and then make, then turn around. But we kind of touched on what I was going to go to next about the, not traveling and recruiting during the summertime. I know that was, it's just a big adjustment for everybody at all right now. Do you think, are they talking about kids that are in school, about giving them back time or a year? Because I think it's going to affect high school, a little worse than it does college, though, to be honest with you.
They've taught like the athletes that missed the spring this past,
Mm-hmm.
they've given them that year back. I think you're going to see more players opt out and decide that
Mm-hmm.
they don't do play. I think that's just across the board. If they opt out, yeah, they still get that year back.
Right.
I think it will affect kids coming out of high school. I think that will. But who's to say, like, you don't know how it's going to play out. Like, what is the plan once, if I say I'm opting out, or if I say I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be interesting to see, because you just don't, like,
Yeah.
you don't know how it's going to play out. And then the other side of it is like this: what could the season look like? Like, if I'm a freshman or senior, like, what does what does it look like? So I think it's twofold. It will be very interesting, because number one, I never thought we'd be to this point. And number two, just think about the first time you heard the word coronavirus. I was like, what? My niece and nephew were like making a song out of it, because I
Right.
get the song they were singing, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
real? And it is like the
Right.
thing. Like, so I'm like, we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Hmm. And then another thing I meant to ask you earlier too about women on the girl side, lady side, is the recruitment, not recruitment, but the transfer portal, is it as prevalent as it is for on the men's side? I know it is.
So when I left Virginia Tech, when
Mm-hmm.
I left at the beginning of June, I think there were 600 young ladies in there.
Mm.
600. Yeah.
So it
It,
is.
it yeah, it is. I don't know how many. At one point I was doing the comparison, because you can see
Mm-hmm.
both, and you pretty much can see all sports, but I was doing a comparison, and there was a tie at, like, at one point, but
Wow.
it
So then you're
it's
gonna have that too, and then the kids getting the year back. So the high school kids definitely, the 2021 kids definitely gotta really start looking into a whole bunch of that stuff like that. I didn't know the girls, the ladies, really, transferred that much like that. Like I said, all this is new to me. I got involved a little bit more with the girls over the last couple of years with Boo, so I started hearing a little bit more things, and I talked to a couple more women coaches and stuff like that. But I always I didn't ask Coach Odom, and it just came to my mind when I was thinking about it. We were talking about COVID. Is the women's side, or do they transfer as much? Because everything with girls, I mean with men, was kind of publicized a whole lot. What I mean,
mhm.
with boy stuff. So I didn't know that it was that big of a on that prevalent on the lady side too.
Yeah, yeah. They go in the transfer portal. There's a lot.
So
There's
it's
a
no
lot.
difference. It's no difference in college. It's just one is a young lady and the other one is a young
Yeah.
man. So there's no difference at
No.
all. Because watching women now, watching young ladies play now, in the program, I just look at them. I'm like, man, they act just like the boys. And then, like I said, Boo and Coach Bailey, Coach Sawyer, that coaches at Lake Taylor in the area, they said, yeah, what did you think it was going to be? I was like, I
No,
don't know. I just thought it was going to be a little different for some reason. She's like, yeah, it's not. It's the same.
it's the same. It
Wow.
is.
And,
It's the same.
and young ladies are getting more athletic now too, so everything's going to be the same in a little while. Like
Hmm.
I see, every time I see something crazy on Twitter, I send it to a ladies coach that I know. I'm like, wow, this is a young girl doing this. Like every
Yeah.
single time that I see something like a young lady dunking or just doing something like a real crazy dribble and stuff like that, I always look into it. I'm like, wow, this is really crazy how to get the women's game has gotten to this.
It's the same.
Exactly the same. Because I mean, they saying it like I just asked Coach Sawyer, Coach Bailey this weekend about different stuff about women and stuff like that in the girls' game. She's like, nah, it's the same. Some of these
Hmm.
girls are like entitled, just like you think the boys think they're entitled. Some of them think they're superstars. Some of them think they're this. I was like, I never would have thought, you know what I mean? But like you said, things are changing for women's sports, period. So everything comes along with it, like the social media buzz, you know, it's the exposure. Like I said, women's slam is real big, women's overtime is
Yep.
real big. All those things are real big. And then like I saw how they do in Chicago for the girls EYBL. I was like, if it wasn't at the same time as Peach Jam, I wouldn't mind trying to get Boo to get me a plane ticket to that because you know what I mean? From watching it online, I was like, I want to see that in person. You know what I mean? Just to see it and see like, you know, young girls getting after it like that on that type of level. Because it's amazing when girls EYBL comes to Hampton. Like it's like incredible. It's like you know, the boys is real good too, but it's like the following is a little bigger with the young women, and then just seeing young women being able to play like that and play that well on that level is just like amazing to me. You know what I mean? Like she said, we can swap. Oh no, we can't swap, Shonda. I don't want to swap because, like I said, I think women. I think you like Coach Odom told me, men are it's a necessity, I guess, to have men in the game as well on the women's side. But I just really like, you know, women coaches coaching the young ladies. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just feel like it's just something else. You know, you guys have a little bit more. You know, you can relate to them a little bit more. You know, things. You know how they feel emotionally and stuff like that too. So I
Oh yeah.
always thought that was a little different for me. When I see a lot of men, did that bother you any? Like, you know, coming through, you know, just seeing men. Because did you play for men? You played for men too, didn't you?
I played for the first time I played for a female coach. I was in college.
Oh
I
wow.
played for my dad with AAU. I played for a couple other AAU teams like here and there when my dad's team wasn't playing. I played for men. So the first time I played for a woman was in college, and I didn't really, I don't want to say it kind of hit me, but it was just kind of like one of those things like, wow, this is the first time that I've played for a woman. And that's a question that I asked recruits now. I'm like, do you want to play for a female head coach, a male head coach? Have you thought about that? That wasn't a question that was asked to me. I never, you
Mm,
know, never thought about it. So Shauna said, was it harder for you? I think it was a harder adjustment playing for a um, female head coach just because I had played for a male. So it just is different when a guy's yelling at you, you see it
mm,
different than a woman is. I don't know. And it might have just been just me and who I played for. That's
mm,
just how I saw it. So I don't know. Looking back on it now, I don't know.
mm.
I don't
Because like I
know.
said, my aunt was a coach, and then I had another aunt that coached sports too, that coached basketball too. So I always saw women coaching, you know what I mean, coaching. And she had men assistant coaches, you know what I
Uh-huh.
mean. But her other assistant was a lady that played too. So I always saw women, you know, coaching women. So I always thought that was the norm. And then as I got older in the area, I started seeing a lot more men coaching on the female side. So I just was like, I didn't know if that was a big thing. Because now I see women coaching, you know, coaching. 'Cause like you said, you coach young boys. You coach
Hmm.
middle school guys. Was
Middle
there any
school.
difference? Was it different?
Um, Now their parents were kind of just like, I don't care what the boys are
Right.
like, I don't care,
Mm,
whatever. So they said that from jump.
mm,
Um, so that was probably that was the biggest difference, but that was probably like the only thing. I
mm,
didn't when I coached girls for AAU, I'm trying to think. Never. I just think your approach is just different.
right. I
Just
can believe that. Yeah. I can
your
believe
approach.
that. And my guy that he asked, he said, "Did Boo recruit you when you played?" I said, "I didn't even ask that. I didn't even think about that part because you
He
were in Virginia."
he called my high school coach.
Did he?
Yeah, my high school coach told my mom. My mom was like, "No, she's the oldest of three. I can't drive her all the way down there, and then
Mm,
I have her." She's like, "I have two other kids," and she's like, "No." So he called my high school coach, and then that was the end of it.
right.
That
That would have been a far. That's a far drive too.
Yeah, it was well 64 then look how 64 looks now.
Right.
Like all them it was just two both ways, and they were all.
Mm,
And I always knew that because whenever we went down there to play or anything like that, it was just like you got to prepare for it.
mm,
Um, but my mom said no. She's like, no.
mm.
I don't
Nah,
know
cause
if Boo. not, but
Nah, because when I started looking at everything that you were doing in high school, it's crazy that I wrote that down on a piece of paper. Like I jotted some notes down. I wanted to ask, like, I was going to ask her, did Boo reach out to her? Because I was like, if she was doing all of this in the state of Virginia, I know somebody from the organization had to reach out to her during her time. It was like, no
yeah,
way. And we normally, especially then, no, Boo normally would have definitely got in 2001. Yeah, I didn't think the other programs were that prevalent that could that would have been able to compete with them. But I understand it totally. I show you. I show you. But yeah, I show you. Hold on. My daughter just came in here. So yeah. But I was wondering that to myself. I was looking at it. I said, I wonder did Boo try to get her back in the day? Because I'm like, she was really good and two-time state player of the year. If y'all stayed in Richmond, it might have been a little easier. Because
yeah,
Meadowbrook, Richmond would have been an hour away.
yeah. It would have been easier. Hmm.
hmm But yeah, within the other kids. But I run into that sometime now. We're recruiting kids to play AAU for us. Some parents will jump in the car and drive 5 to 6 hours. Some like, nah, I can get that right here where we're at. So I kind of understand it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then you got to try to, tell them on something else that I could do for them. Just like, with you guys, we're trying to get them like, even AAU is like, what have you done for me? When you try to get a kid to play for your organization, it's like, what can you do for us? Or what do you have? This, and that. I said, geez, it's tough out here. You know what I mean? Trying to get a kid to play AAU, and then there's so many options now. The options, when I came through, it was only Boo and you had teams like I forgot my team. This team out of Richmond, Richmond Metro. Then it was another team, Tony Squires. You
Coach.
know, yeah, and then you had like the Roanoke Stars,
Hmm.
stuff like that. So I remember all those programs. So, but it's way different now. You know what I mean?
Wait.
So way like it's incredible. All right, so I just wanted to, like I said, I do this with everybody that I bring on. You know what I mean? I was gonna wrap up momentarily, but I wanted to get something from you, like just a nugget. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I do these, it's more of like it's not really to ask you a whole bunch of recruiting questions about what type of kids you want to recruit and what you guys are looking for at Stanford and things of that nature. But it's more of like a celebration of you and like, everything that you've given to basketball and everything that you're going to continue to give to basketball. So, but I do want to get like a nugget from you, with kids, because we had some of our girls that tapped in over the last hour or two that we've been
Hmm.
on. Just something that you give kids, nuggets that you give a kid that's like trying to really do this, in basketball, or advice you would give youth that want to, a young lady that wants to play college basketball and things of that nature.
I would say comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm,
Um, that was my biggest thing, and now that I look back, I know why I am in love with that piece so much. What God has given you, He's given you. He doesn't give to
mm,
people, and I think sometimes we look right, and we try to figure out what somebody else has, or I want what they have. That we lose focus of what we have.
mm,
So the comparison game, I know like rankings come out and write-ups come out, and you want to see what people have to say about you. And I get that. I
mm,
think that human nature. But I think the biggest thing is comparison's a thief of joy. And I got cut. I was told I would never play Division I basketball. I
mm,
was told my sister would play in college and I wouldn't. And I think that's what motivated me. It doesn't look the same way in the beginning, it looks in the end. And I think sometimes we get caught up on, and I think it's easy for kids to get caught up on it now with social media. You see this person has this, you see what they have. They don't show you the ugly moments. They don't show you the moments that are not so pretty, that are not for social media.
mm,
Um, and it breaks my heart sometimes having to talk to kids about that because they don't get it like that, because this is all
mm,
that they know. Social media, they know how it looks. And so I sit with that for myself.
mm,
I think it's human nature. It's easy to be like, well, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, if I was trying to do what everybody else was doing, I wouldn't be in the situation or where I am right now. But that's the biggest thing for me. I think sometimes they get caught up in rankings. They get caught up in, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want this, I want that. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know you gave yourself your all. And that's what you gave yourself, because nobody else is going to give you that. So I always say, I think I tweeted that last week, just comparison's a thief of joy. It's hard. And I know it is hard. Like, if you think, like, I remember, and I'm gonna date myself, I remember when, like, Facebook, when you got Facebook, you had to have a school email to get on Facebook. I never thought it would be what it is now, as far as Facebook, Twitter, and some of these kids don't know what Facebook is, but as far as like Twitter and Instagram, like just different stuff as far as that, we have to do better at that. But it starts when these kids are younger. It starts with, like, the rankings. It starts with all that stuff. And I'm not saying that those are bad things. They're not bad at all. You got to run your race, and that your race is what God has truly given to you. And that's what I try to, I tell young ladies who are just struggling with things, but it's hard. It's hard. And, social media, like, you have younger kids, like, how social media is, and nobody shows those ugly moments. Nobody shows you the moments that are not pretty.
Yeah,
So.
that's tough. I like that one too. Comparison is the theft of joy. I like running your own race. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think what Dane said something to that effect too, with running your own race, or he said something to the effect of all eggs don't hatch on the same day. You know what I mean? And I said, you know what? Coaches seem like they pull from the same, like, because it seems like everybody. And Dane is he played. I met him when I was in college at Hampton, and he played there. But it seems like a lot of, athletes have some of the same, like, because everybody's, both were athletes. So it seemed like having a lot of the same, like, I guess, like, beliefs, or some of the same type of, like, work ethic. So some of it comes, like, twofold or whatever like that. But that's really good. Like, I've enjoyed the 2 hours that I've had with you, Coach Anderson. Like, it's been amazing. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I said it a couple of times already. When I first, put the flyer that I was going to have you on, I started getting text messages and DMs about, recruitment and this, and that. And I'm like, I mean, nah, I said, first of all, these coaches they talk about it, but because I'm sure you guys have done like a million Zooms, you know what I mean, or a million WebEx calls where you talk about stuff like that. Because I've been on a million Zoom calls where college coaches are talking to us about different things that they're looking for, different things they're doing during COVID and recruiting, and how this looks now. But with this right here, I touched on that, but I kind of wanted to be a little bit more relaxed and just talk about you, celebrate the person that I bring on and what they've done in the game and what they're going to continue to do in the game. He said, look, KP is all over you. He back in here talking to
It won't happen.
He said he's back in.
No recruiting period, no nothing.
Right. See, look, yeah, it's gonna be hard to. And she's in California now too. Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle Shields. I think she might be one of your followers, but she tapped in. But I always do it that way. And like I said, I want to, a big thank you to you for doing this. Like I said, a lot of people that I've had on, I kind of knew and had a little relationship with. And like I said, when I talked to Twan about you, and then I talked to some other folks about you, they was like, oh man, she's super cool, this. And I was like, I'm just supposed to reach out to her in her DM and just say, hey, coach, you know what I mean? Like, come on to this, my social media platform and let me, ask you some questions and stuff like that. But you didn't have any, no reservation towards it, or now you didn't ask about, send me the questions and let me see. Like, you just jumped right on, and I definitely appreciate you for that, for sure.
You might know me a little bit, CJ knows me a little bit, but I tell people all the time, like, if there's anything like questions, or even if you have questions or anybody wants to know something about something, it might not have to do with stage, it might have to do with the process, it might have to do with just anything like connections, trying to get in touch with somebody. I try to help anybody. I think we don't do a good job of helping each other. Per se, I think, and it doesn't have to always be somebody trying to outdo somebody to get somewhere. But I just think we need to do a better job of helping people. Like, somebody helped me get here. It's my job to help the next person. And I just think we all have to do a better job of helping each other. And I think that we do a good job with that, just in general.
I like that too. Help each other, because I definitely don't think people do that enough.
We have to. Yeah. So I tell people all the time, I know like people DM me, people ask me questions. If it has to do with anything, if I could help you or connect you with anybody, I will be the first one to try to help. If I can't help you, I'll figure out how I can get to somebody that can help you. But I think we have to be a little bit more selfless, and we've become selfish. So
Yeah, you're right. So, like I said, I appreciate you again for being selfless with me and being transparent, coming on my Instagram live. Like I said, it's a little different. Like I said, I don't know if you. I always tell people my show is a little different. I have questions and stuff that I try to go by, but I hop around all over the place. We touch we go from when you were little, then we might go all the way to right now, and then we may backtrack. But I think it's good because that's just how life is. You never know how it's gonna, how things are gonna go up and down and roller coaster. We're in coronavirus now. You left the East Coast and went to California, Corona. Plus, you guys are having wildfires. It's just life is just so crazy and it's so precious. So, you know what I mean? You gave a lot of good insight on or just like obstacles for women, getting through. You're like a great example, for young women to be able to do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, I just really like the the two sides that you have, like the professional side with working, and then the coaching side. You did it as a player, you did it as a high level. So like all of that stuff like that, I know, you're still a young lady, and I know you got a bright future in the game, and I could definitely see you being a head coach. You know what I mean? I could definitely see it. I could definitely see it, and like I said, researching you, and then after I do the research and after Coach Bailey helps me out with it, I go back in and check some more stuff and look at old bios and see what they say about you in the bios and stuff like that. And just read, you know what I mean? I think that's a lot of times that we don't do either. We don't read enough. It just figure stuff out, you know what I mean? And I know that's a big thing with me too, not reading enough and not figuring stuff out. But like I said, I appreciate it tonight. Like I told Coach CJ last night, I got all my t-shirts over here. Are you they're men t-shirts though, so I'm gonna get them all sent out. I just got my logo on it, but if it's a man, what would you be, a medium or a
medium.
small? Medium.
Medium.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them all out, and then I'll DM you or text you or get where you want me to send it off to. Like I told CJ last night, I would show you, but I don't want to show you. Like, I got a stack of t-shirts that I got sent in that I got done, and I haven't mailed them off yet. And I haven't mailed them off to my guests. Yeah.
Against you, but thank you. No, I appreciate it. I'm a t-shirt person, so I always ask people for t-shirts all the time, so I will wear it.
Oh no, I appreciate it. And I got burgundy too. I got a burgundy too, for your school colors too. So like I said, I appreciate it, Coach. Now we met, and I feel like I've known you for a long time now. So I'll probably be in your DM, ask you about things. And I look at Coach Porsche, says she's a medium. Oh yeah, CJ, I bet those are for you, CJ. But yeah, Coach Porsche says she's a medium. Coach Porsche is a great dude too. I met him in the program too. So like Boo has introduced me to a lot of people, and I met Coach. Man, I got a lot of respect for him. I seen him in his craft doing some training and stuff, and it was like amazing to see him put that work in like that. But yeah, Sean, it was a great interview. You helped me out a lot. Brittany was easy. She made it easy for me. You know what I mean? Like, I asked her one thing, and then she just went into it for me. So, like I said, you'll be hearing more from me. And like I said, I'm gonna reach out for you and get where I'm gonna send you a t-shirt and stuff too. And like I said, thanks again, Coach. Keep being a great, no problem. Keep being a great example to our young ladies out here, and keep doing your thing. And I'll hear from you soon, or you'll hear from me soon.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.